So hello everyone, welcome back to Oliveboard's Agri Coaching. I hope that you were waiting for this series of lectures which we are bringing for AFO 2024. As this is your first class, today we are starting with our first important section which was mentioned in your syllabus of AFO, which is given by IBPS. What is the syllabus about? It talks about present scenario of Indian agriculture, and at the same time it also talks about general agriculture. So therefore today's chapter which we are going to look, it is constituting two important aspects, that is general agriculture, and that general agriculture we are going to understand by understanding the agriculture in India. So therefore general agriculture and present scenario of agriculture in India, today we are going to start. So what we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. So first we will start the session with important sections like, let me tell you, first data and stats which are related to agricultural resources, then data and stats which are associated with the production of the food grains or agricultural production, then data and stats which are related to your overall agricultural activities, and then we will turn towards our next section which is associated with different general agricultural terms and activities and processes. Okay, so overall this chapter, if you see, you would be understanding the basics of agriculture from which we are starting our overall agricultural curriculum. Okay, so let's now discuss the first important aspect I told you, that is our key agricultural statistics which we are looking with our recent data, and the recent data has been given by All India. The recent data is All India's data which has been released by Directorate of Economics and Statistics, which is under Department of Agriculture, and the latest data is according to the date 24/5/2023. That means the data whatever we are looking at, it is very latest one. Okay, now let me take you towards the sections and what are the different datas we are going to consider. At the same time also I will make sure that whatever these terms are there, you will understand those. So through agricultural statistics which are related to our Indian agriculture, we will also understand these general terms of agriculture. So how beautiful it is, you are understanding agricultural general terms also, and you are understanding the present scenario of agriculture also. Both things at the same time we are understanding. First thing which we are going to look, it is nothing but total geographical area which is under the cultivation. So total geographical area under cultivation is 328.75 million hectares. This you should be always knowing, because this is the total area which is in our hand for the cultivation. Now, reported area for land utilization statistics. What is reported area? Reported area is nothing but on the ground theoretical value which you got through the schematics, through the map, or through geospatial analysis. So that whatever area is there that you got, now this particular area is 306.54 million hectares out of this 328.75 hectares. So this is the reported area, the actual area you may say. Then is area under forest. When I'm talking about area under forest, here you could see 71.75 million hectares. Okay, this is area under forest. Now this data has been given by Ministry of Agriculture, of course, that is Department of Agriculture. Again, area under forest, you can get also a second data which would be different. This quantification could be different, which would be given by ISFR, Indian State of Forest Report. So therefore do not get confused. There would be of a particular topic or a particular term, there would be multiple data which are associated with it. We shouldn't be getting confused. You should have a basic understanding of that approximate value which is associated with that term. Then percentage of area under forest to reported area. So theoretical value upon your actual value. Okay, so percentage of area under forest upon the reported area. How much it is? 23.41%. So this is a ratio in which what you are having a theoretical value upon your actual value. So you are having a theoretical value upon actual value, and that you are again multiplying with your 100. So that's why you are getting the answer in percentage. So what is that percentage? 23.41%. Then comes gross cropped area. Along with the gross cropped area, you should be also knowing net sown area. So gross cropped area and net sown area, both terms are associated with each other. Both terms also, when you take the ratio of them, you get a new term, that is cropping intensity. What are these all terms about? Let's try to understand. So when I am trying to teach you gross cropped area, okay, so yes, so let me explain you what does gross cropped area means. Suppose this is my Kharif season. Okay, suppose this is my Kharif season. This is my Rabi season. This is my Zaid season. Okay, considering that I am a farmer, consider that I am a farmer. Okay guys, I am a farmer. Okay, considering me as a farmer, I am having 5 hectares of land. How much? 5 hectares of land. Okay, this 5 hectares of land I am having for my overall cultivation. So this is the overall land which I am having in my hands for cultivating. Now always remember, if I consider one agricultural year, one agricultural complete year. What is one agricultural year? Of course, starting from 1st of June to your 31st of or 30th of May. Okay, so one agricultural year from, for example, from June 2023 to May 2024. For this one particular year, I am having 5 hectares with me. I can cultivate whatever I want. In India, if we take the case, always this particular land could be used for 3 seasonal cycles. Which are those 3 seasonal cycles? Of course, Kharif, Rabi and Zaid. So the total area which I am having in my hands for the cultivation, that area doesn't changes. It doesn't really matter how much time I cultivation I am doing. It doesn't really matter how much crops I am planting. It doesn't really matter how much cycles of cropping I am doing. It matters that total area, how much I am having, 5 hectares. This is my net area which any farmer would be having with himself for cultivation. This net area is nothing but net sown area. That is, what is the net sowing a particular farmer could be doing on this particular area? Of course, if he is having total area of 5 hectares, then the net sowing will also be 5 hectares. But what about gross cropped area? So gross cropped area is nothing but, if this particular farmer, I am this particular farmer, and this particular farmer has 5 hectares of land in which he is doing Kharif, Rabi and Zaid season. Now suppose in the Kharif season I am planting rice on 5 hectares, same 5 hectares. Then after harvesting of rice in Rabi season, I am planting wheat on the same 5 hectares. Then after that I am planting maybe watermelon on the same 5 hectares. So how much total area did I cultivated throughout my all the seasons in one agricultural year? 5 plus 5 plus 5. It is 15. This total area in which the cropping I have done, that is called my gross cropped area. So now I think you get it. What does gross cropped area means? The gross cropped area, if I am trying to tell you, it is total number of area or total area under which you have done multiple cropping cycles. So if you are having 10 hectares of land, if you are having 5 hectares of land, it doesn't really matter how much total area you are having. It matters how much times the area did you use for your multiple cropping cycles. So here in this case, 5 hectares of land is my net sown area, which is the net area in which I am doing cultivation. It doesn't really matter how much time cultivation, how much cycles of cropping you are doing. Whereas my gross cropped area is how much multiple cycles I have done the cropping area. That is how much times cropping I have done and what is the area. So 5 hectares become my net sown area and 15 hectares becomes my gross cropped area. What are the statistics? The gross cropped area is 211.36 million hectares, whereas the net sown area is 139.90 million hectares. The percentage of gross cropped area to reported area, again actual upon theoretical value, it is 68.95%. Okay, then let's move forward. Now we will go towards one more concept which is associated with gross cropped area upon net sown area. So the cropping intensity is nothing but the efficiency of your agricultural activity, which is given by total output upon input, which is given by gross cropped area upon net sown area. Considering our previous example, our gross cropped area was 15 and our net sown area was 5 hectares. So it is 15 upon 5, which gives us 5 ones are 5, 5 3s are 15. So 3 becomes our total efficiency, or the total number of your output upon input, which you get through the term which is called as cropping intensity. How much intensively you can do the agricultural activity or farming in that particular field. So for example, if it is 3 upon 1, this 3 is nothing but 3 upon 1, right? So 5 ones are 5, 5 3s are 15. So 3 upon 1. So 3 upon 1 denotes your input and 3 denotes your output. So if you give input of 1 unit, you get output of 3 units. So this shows how much time cropping cycle has been done, how much time cropping has been done, how much times the area has been sown. Area has been sown multiple of 1, that is area has been sown 3 times. So here the efficiency is 3 times. If that particular farmer had 5 hectares of land as net sown area, then the gross cropped area was 15. It means 3 cropping cycles were done. So whatever crops were grown in 3 cycles for 3 seasons were grown on the same field with total area. So therefore here 3 times, therefore efficiency becomes 3 times. If you find out in percentage, you have to multiply it by 100, which will give you 300%, right? Because the cropping intensity formula is actually GCA, that is gross cropped area upon net sown area, into 100. Okay, so when you do gross cropped area upon net sown area into 100, you will get 300 as your value. The 300 or 3 times, it is nothing but 300 gives out the total intensivity of your agriculture. Intensivity in the sense how much input you put and how much output you get. 1 input, you get 3 output. That means that 3 cycles of cropping you could do. 3 times the agricultural activity you could do on your field. As simple as that. So therefore, if you want to know the productivity or overall the efficiency of the agricultural field, this is a really good term to understand the overall efficiency. What is it? Cropping intensity. How much is it for India? It is 151.08. That is gross cropped area upon net sown area. Now this is 151.08. But if you go and if you look at the agricultural census, if you go through different documents, you will understand that this particular value of gross cropped area and net sown area always keeps on changing or varying. And that is why in context of India, if you see the cropping intensity value from north to south, from east to west, it is always between 140 to 170. What does it mean? It means that overall in India, the agricultural efficiency or maybe intensivity is 1.7 to 1.4 times if you go throughout our agricultural area from north to south, east to west, go anywhere. But this is the band value which you get. Now next term is percentage of net area sown or net sown area to reported area. Again actual upon theoretical, how much is it? 45.64. Then area sown more than once. What do you mean by area sown more than once? Again here cropping intensity comes into picture. Area sown more than once means that here the cropping intensity was more than 1. That means 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is more than 2. So cropping intensity was more than 2 in the sense what? How much time the cropping cycle was done? More than one. So that is why here the term has been written area sown more than once. That means in one agricultural year, in 12 months, how much time the cropping was done? It doesn't really matter which cropping was done, Kharif, Rabi, Zaid, whatever it is, but it could be done 2 times. So for example, suppose I am a farmer, I did rice cropping and then I did wheat cropping. In one agricultural year, I could sow or maybe crop only 2 crops. Therefore, I would be considered in this area sown, which is more than once. And how much is such area out of total area? It is 71.46 million hectares. This particular 71.46 million hectares is such area in which not the crop is grown only once in a particular year, but more than once, twice, thrice, 4 times. Okay, so this shows a good, again, efficiency. The net irrigated area and gross irrigated area. A similar concept as gross cropped area and net sown area. The net irrigated area is nothing but how much area a farmer is holding with himself. It doesn't really matter that Kharif, Rabi, Zaid, what type of cropping you are doing in one agricultural year. It just matters that how much area you are having and what is the total maximum limit of your field to which you can apply the irrigation. That is your net area. Net, you understand, right? So for example, if I am having 5 hectares of land, same farmer example, if in this 5 hectares of land, this is my total maximum area in which I can apply my irrigation, then that becomes my net irrigation area. And what is my gross irrigated area? So my gross irrigated area is nothing but, suppose in Kharif season I planted rice, then suppose I supplied irrigation to this 5 hectares of area. Okay, so this 5 hectares plus in wheat season again I supplied irrigation to this 5 hectares of area. In Zaid season again I supplied irrigation. So this total 15 hectares of area to which I supplied irrigation, that would be called as gross irrigated area. So same concept as gross cropped area and net sown area. I hope you get the point. Now, after understanding the basics related to resources of our Indian agriculture, let's move towards production as I promised. Production and procurement indicators of India. Okay, here the data has been given, terms have been given, and also the source from which the data or the estimates have been taken, that is also given. So first we go towards overall food production in the country. Overall food production is 285.71 million tons. Okay, overall food production, if I talk about, it is according to 4th advance estimate, okay, which is the latest estimate which is giving the numbers. Now one more thing, recently I saw a number which is 310.15, which is given out by newspapers, or maybe which has been given by FCI, the total food grain production that has been given by FCI. Now it has been above 310.15. Okay, but if anybody asks you a legitimate value according to 4th advance estimate or according to the latest advance estimate, you should be knowing 285. Okay, next. Now this 285 could be split up into Kharif and Rabi season crop. Okay, so for example, if you read or if you go through advance estimates, their total food grain production is also given, as well as Rabi and Kharif, both food grain productions are given. Okay, because in India 2 main season of croppings are there, one is Kharif and second is Rabi. When you consider our Kharif total production is 141.03 and our Rabi production is 144.68. If you add this both, you will definitely get this value 285.71. If certain minor, if any deficit is there, of course, then Zaid production crops would be included. Okay, now let's move towards horticultural production according to the latest estimate, that is 3rd advance estimate, and it is 342.33 million tons. Then total milk production in the country, it's 209.96, where India produces 24% of milk production in the world, and India is the first milk producer in the world. Then comes meat production, it is 87.98 lakh tons. Okay, livestock population as per latest census of 20th livestock census, that is 536.76 million numbers, because here each animal you will be counting as a number 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Then fish production, if you see, it is 162.48 lakh tons, which is of course lesser. Okay, considering that India is a peninsular country open from both the side to the oceans and with a great riverine system developed, okay, inland in the country, where India has peninsular river also, India also has your Himalayan river systems also. Okay, so considering all these, whatever this production is there, that is much more lesser as compared to other countries. Then overall procurement. Now this procurement is nothing but, of course, which is given to a PDS system by FCI. Are rice from the Kharif marketing season in the year of 2022-2023, it was 478.27 lakh tons. Okay, wheat for Rabi marketing season, again the year is 2022-2023, it's 187.92 lakh ton. Here we are talking about only 1 year. Okay, Nutri coarse grains, if we see, it is 263, okay, 1000 tons. Okay, then pulses procurement under your procurement scheme, which is of course 1,20,131.09 million tons. Oilseed procurement, if you see, it is 47,926.50. Sorry, I apologize. So it's 47,926 million tons. Cotton, if you see, now cotton is never measured in kgs or maybe in tons, but rather cotton is always measured by a unit which is called as bales. Why bales? Because cotton always, whenever cotton wool is taken, or maybe threads are taken, those threads are weaved together to make the strips or stretches of bands. These bands, whatever are there, these bands are having a specific thickness, specific length, and then cotton, whatever production is there according to such bands or such strips, those are counted, and these bands are there, those are called as bales. So therefore 15 lakh bales is the cotton production, and 0.76 lakh bales is the production of jute. Okay, so these two you should be knowing about. Okay, then moving towards macroeconomic indicators in the country right now. So it is very essential to understand the status of agriculture and allied activities in terms of economy, or in terms of their contribution to economy. The first thing which we are going to understand is GVA, that is agriculture and allied sector. Okay, and how much is their gross value addition. The year here we are looking at is 2011-12 according to second advance estimate, which is giving the latest value. So here, according for the latest value, here you could see how much is it. Of course, it is 22,21,092 crore. This is your gross value added. Now comes the growth rate of gross value added in your agriculture and allied sector. So growth rate is nothing but by what extent the growth is taking place, and that is 3.3%. Okay, so 3.3% of GVA, this is the growth rate. This is not the share of agriculture and allied activities in GVA. There is a difference. What is the difference between growth rate and share of agri and allied activities? Growth rate is nothing but agriculture and allied activities are increasing their growth, their rate of increase is 3.3%. You get the idea? Whereas the share of agriculture and allied activities in the total GVA, this is nothing but share in the sense, in 1 year, how much was the contribution, how much were the numbers given by agriculture and allied activity. Now, the previous value was 18% and the latest value is 21.1%. The 18% value was asked in NABARD grade A phase 1 2021, the question was asked. Okay, 18%. Now you should be knowing that it is 21.1%, that is there is an increase. Then comes value of total agricultural exports. Here you could see 3,75,662 crore rupees in the year of 2021-2022. So this is your total value of agricultural exports. So 3,75,000 worth agricultural crore rupees worth agriculture exports were sent out in the foreign. So you get the idea right now. Then percentage share of value of agricultural exports to national exports. So India is one of the largest exporters of different products. It may be in agriculture, it may be, that means in primary activities, secondary, or maybe even tertiary activities. Considering overall exports, if you take the chunk of agriculture and allied activities exports, that is 11.94%, that is close to 12% of the total exports. Okay, what is the total value of imports? It is again 2,31,850 crore rupees. That is the total agricultural imports by value. So we have two values with us. One is the total value of agricultural exports and the total value of agricultural imports. Now both of these values are very, very important. Why? Export is nothing but this is the total amount of rupees which India gets by exporting of these agricultural products. How much do we get? It is 3,75,662 crore rupees. And what is the import? So here import value is 2,31,850 crores. So here the difference, if you see, it is almost of 1 lakh crore rupees. So therefore here you could say, what we can say here, export minus imports, when we are getting, what is it? It is positive in nature. So therefore this trade, agricultural trade which we are doing internationally through export and import, that is good for our balance sheets. Now so this is how you can imperatively understand. So tomorrow also in agri exports any question comes, this is how you can use your data. Okay, next percentage share of value of agricultural imports to national imports. So what is it? Out of total national imports which we are doing, only 5% imports we are doing which are from the agricultural imports. Okay, so comparing to total national imports, 5% only import is from agriculture sector. This shows that total overall agricultural production which we do at the domestic level, it is enough for our overall demand in the country. Then is employment indicators. Now this is very, very essential. Okay, now you would have heard India is called as agrarian community. Agrarian community. So we all know that India is an agrarian community. We call that India is an agrarian nation. So considering that, let's look at our employment indicators and let's try to understand why India is called as agrarian community. Okay, so apart from major of our populations living in rural areas, there is also a very important aspect that why India is called as agrarian community. First thing is total number of cultivators as per the latest census of 2011. What is it? 118.8 million. Now these cultivators are nothing but, who are cultivators? So these cultivators are nothing but who do cultivation, that is agricultural activity in their own field. Those are called as cultivators. Okay, so how much is the total number of cultivators in the country? 118.8 million. Total number of agricultural laborers as per census 2011, it is 144.3 million. Now difference between laborers and cultivators, generally laborers are paid wages and laborers do not have any tenancy right, that is they do not own any particular land, but rather they are just being employed under cultivators or maybe under any other agricultural owner. Okay, I hope you are getting an idea. Agricultural laborer is a person who moves from one area or one field to field just in search of wages. So he does the agricultural activity but does not owns a land specifically. Okay, then percentage share of agricultural workers. Agricultural worker is a holistic terms which include agricultural cultivators also and agricultural laborers also. So agricultural workers is a term which includes cultivators plus agricultural laborers, and when you compare or maybe when you make the ratio, when you compare it with the total workforce, so the percentage of agricultural workers to total workforce, it is 54.6%, and that is why here you could see more than 50% of population is involved in agricultural activity, and that is why we call India as an agrarian community. Total number of operational holdings as per agricultural census. Operational holdings, how much are there? 1,464.54 lakhs. Okay, these are the operational holdings. Okay, then marginal holdings. Marginal holdings are nothing but those operational holdings which are less than 1 hectares. Okay, so operational holdings are classified into number of holdings. Okay, so marginal, small and medium, large holdings, right? So therefore your marginal holdings are nothing but which are less than 1 hectares. How much such area is there? 1,002.51 lakh, which is almost 68.45% out of 100% of your operational holdings. So out of total area in the country, the largest amount of farmers are marginal in nature. Why? 68.45% is the marginal land. So therefore marginal farmers in the country would be also larger as compared to the other small, medium and large farmers. Then comes small holdings. Small holdings are nothing but the area is between 1 to 2 hectares. Okay. Then comes total 258.09 lakh hectares is the small holdings, which almost is 17.62% out of the total area. Then or total holdings. Then comes others. Others are nothing but medium plus large holdings, which is above 2 hectares. So therefore 203.92 lakh hectares is the area above 2 hectares and 13.93% is the total area in percentage out of the total land operational holdings. So I hope now we have covered major statistics. Now let's move towards the next statistic, that is total crop producing states in India during 2021-2022. So according to the latest estimate of 4th advance estimate, if you take the data, it is from again Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, where now we would be looking at individual crops, where we will be looking at individual crops. Okay. So the first crop which we are looking at, it is rice, then is wheat, and then is nutri or coarse cereals. Okay. So rice, when we are looking at, we all know earlier Uttar Pradesh was rank 1, but now West Bengal is the rank 1. Second is Uttar Pradesh and third is Punjab. If you look at the total area under the cultivation, Uttar Pradesh has largest area under its cultivation for rice, 5.70 million hectares, and then immediately with just a minor difference 5.6 million hectares is West Bengal. Although if you look at the overall production which happens in million tons, 16.76 million tons is from West Bengal and 15.27 million tons production is from Uttar Pradesh. Okay, here overall area, that is 12.06% area of total area in India is cultivated in West Bengal for rice production, and here this percentage to all India is nothing but 12.87% of production comes out for rice, comes out from West Bengal out of total production. Okay, I hope you get this value. So first we are looking at the area in million hectares, then the percentage of area compared to total, then total production in million tons and total production in terms of all India production. Okay, then this, when we look for rice, now we look for wheat. In wheat, Uttar Pradesh is at rank 1, Madhya Pradesh is at rank 2 and Punjab is at rank 3. Uttar Pradesh with the total area of 9.42 million hectares, Madhya Pradesh with 6.50 million hectares and Punjab with less, very less, 3.52 million hectares. But if you cumulatively look at the total production, Uttar Pradesh has 33.95 million tons of production, Madhya Pradesh has 22.42 million tons of production and Punjab has 14.82 million tons of production. You can compare it with your overall percentages with the total values also. Similarly, you can even see the values of area, total area under cultivation, total production in million tons, and even compare it in terms of percentage with the total values at the all India scale. So overall, the nutri production which you see, Karnataka is rank 1, Rajasthan is rank 2 and Maharashtra is rank 3. Similarly, you can look it for all the other crops. Jowar is the first one, Bajra is the next one, and then is maize. Okay, Jowar, Maharashtra is the first one, Karnataka second, Rajasthan third. If you look at area, the largest area under jowar production is in Maharashtra, then in Karnataka, then in Rajasthan. The production also is similar, 1.71 million tons in Maharashtra and 0.75 in Karnataka, and Rajasthan 0.54. In Bajra, if you see Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, this is the rank and the values are similarly. You can take a screenshot if per se, because these all are statistical value and you have to read it. Okay, but these values are very essential. This may come up in exam. Then maize production, when we are looking at overall, Karnataka is the largest producer, then Madhya Pradesh, then Maharashtra. Okay, in terms of area. Then when we talk in terms of production in million tons, 5.22 million tons of production comes from Karnataka, 4.57 from Madhya Pradesh and 3.53 million tons from Maharashtra. I hope in this way we have covered most of the things which are important from statistical and data oriented point of view. Okay, when agricultural current affairs we are going to see, don't worry, in that we are also again going to cover all these current aspects which are there. Now let's move, as we are now having basics understanding of different terms also, as well as overall quantification data statistic related to our scenario which happens in the Indian agriculture. Okay, now we can move towards why agriculture is important in the country right now. So if you see, agriculture is the primary activity, or maybe it is an activity which comes from the primary sector, based on which the other secondary and tertiary activities are dependent. Okay, so agricultural sector, if you see in any economy, it is the most important sector which provides major raw materials for your secondary activities. If agriculture is not there, then essentially there would be breakdown of economy, as it is the backbone and essential part of any economy. Okay, now it contributes 17% to the total GDP, that is gross domestic product. Gross domestic product is nothing but, of course, how much total production you are doing in your geographical area. Okay, so out of that 17% comes from agriculture only, which is a significant number. Agriculture and types of agricultural crops are essential not only from economic point of view, but also they act as a basic need of human beings. Other than that, if you see, 70% of Indian rural families are directly or indirectly engaged and dependent on farming and agricultural activities. If you see, and if you add allied activities in this agricultural activity, then the number goes beyond 84, close to 84%. Okay, then the biggest source of employment, if you see, that is agriculture, which I showed you in the statistics, where total employment provided is almost 60% of the Indian population. It also affects global trade and it maintains even social order. Now these much things are essential, because in stats also you would have now those essential data. For example, you can give how much exports happening in the country, how much imports happening in the country. You can tell how much agricultural workers are there in country, and this way you can tell the importance of Indian agriculture. Okay, now let's move towards other important terms which you should be knowing before getting into agriculture. Okay, so these are nothing but different and basic types of cultivation in India. So in India, if you see farming systems, okay, on which the cultivation is done. Okay, so these farming system signifies optimization of various agricultural components and their integration in multi-enterprise development for sustainable farm practices under diverse situation and farm categories. So let me explain in brief and in very simple terms. What do you mean by system? So system is nothing but any body which has multiple parts, and those parts are working in association with each other in such a way that synchronizingly they are trying to achieve a certain objective or trying to complete a certain process, right? So when you consider farming system, it is nothing but it signifies optimization of various agricultural components or parts. So farming system is made up of multiple agricultural components. These multiple agricultural components come together and work in synchrony or in integration, such that in multi-enterprises development, multi-enterprises in the sense what? When such components come together and they work in integration, multiple activities are associated with the farming or your agricultural system. Okay, so these enterprises come together and such sustainable farm practices are carried out under diverse situation and farm categories. So farming systems are nothing but it's an umbrella term in which you are doing normal cropping activity, normal farming activity, in which multiple other agricultural processes, agricultural activities, agricultural resources, agricultural components, they come together, they work in synchronity, and overall what we try to do? We try to do overall agricultural activity in such a way that we get higher output. So this is what farming system is. Farming means cultivation of crops with proper knowledge in agriculture for getting more yields and productivity, that is output, as I said. Overall, when you try to cultivate the crop with proper knowledge, with proper scientific scientific techniques, scientific methodology, as well as proper knowledge, that time there is very high chance that we can increase our yields, productivity and overall output. Overall farming activities, if you see, or cultivation in India, it is done in different farming activities or different types. The first thing to look at is subsistence farming. So when we talk about subsistence farming, there are three further types of subsistence farming: livestock farming, nomadic herding and shifting cultivation. The second is your terrace farming, which is again a farming activity which takes place in hilly or mountainous regions. Then it's commercial farming, okay? Then is arable farming, then is mixed farming, and last is horticulture. So these are basic types of cultivation practices or maybe farming systems which we carry or which we do in our agricultural activity. We will start our discussion with subsistence farming. Always remember, you should know the meaning of subsistence. Subsistence is nothing but a word which comes from subsistence, which is sustain, okay? Sustain or sustenance. So what do you mean by sustain or sustenance? It is nothing but basic survival, okay, of ourselves, not survival of others, but survival of ourselves, right? So subsistence agriculture is an agricultural practice in which farmer and his family produce whatever crops, whatever cereals or whatever food grains only for self-consumption. Only for self-consumption. Second thing is that they do not sell their produce in the market. So they do not sell their produce in the market. So in this way, subsistence farming is nothing but it is characterized by small and scattered land holdings. So overall, why these particular farmers are doing agricultural activity only for self-consumption? So overall, if you see the features of subsistence farming, you would be knowing that the farmers which are carrying such particular specific farming activity, these are having lesser inputs in their hands for their agricultural activity. For example, these are marginal farmers. These are having lower land areas under cultivation. So therefore, they are having small and scattered land holdings. They use primitive tools and not advanced means or advanced machines for the cultivation. The high input of labor or maybe high labor cost results into overall family involvement in the agricultural practice. Multiple cropping is also carried out in such subsistence farming, as they cannot do monocropping of a particular rice, wheat or any other cereal because of the unavailability of huge amount of capital. Second, dependence on natural resources. Major subsistence farming is carried out in the Kharif season, which is an agricultural practice which happens or maybe is dependent only on monsoon. Employment of unskilled labor. When we talk about unskilled labor, of course you have to understand that whatever people are involved in such type of farming activity, those are not highly skilled, and then no specialization is required. So here now you will get an idea that this is the basic agricultural activity which happens in every rural area, in which the overall factors of production or maybe overall inputs of the production are very less. So therefore, try to understand that this is a particular agricultural activity in which farmer and his family is involved. They only produce for their self-consumption, not for the sale of that produce in the market. So in subsistence farming, what would be their particular intention or objective? So if I ask you all that, students, what is the intention or objective behind this particular subsistence farming? Mention in the comment section. What is the purpose of doing such activity? What is the purpose of doing such subsistence farming? Let me know. Okay, I'll tell you. The main thing why particular farmers are engaged in subsistence farming, it is only for their basic sustenance or basic survival for the particular year. That means suppose I am a marginal farmer, I will only take care or I will only look for my survival, in which I will try my max to produce the grains which I will store and utilize for 1 year. Out of my overall produce, I will not sell even one grain in the market, because overall grain I need it for myself only. So here the intention or your objective is of sustenance only, sustenance for a year. Here profit is never an objective in the subsistence farming. Next, the farmers are poor. As they are marginal, they are poor, they are not having any resources in their hand. They do not use fertilizer, neither they use high yielding variety of seeds, and therefore this is the agriculture practice which is only carried through basics, okay, through general resources which are in their hand. Cereals like wheat, rice, millets could be raised in such type of cropping, and only for that particular family and not for the sale in the market. A simple example, if you see, of subsistence farming is nothing but a farmer and his family growing grains and then utilizing them enough to breed themselves for a year and not selling any one grain in the market. When a grower practices subsistence farming, that what particular farmer is there, he has to grow a great variety of crops or livestock that has adapted well to the local conditions. So always remember, people who are in the rural areas, in the different localities and different climate in that localities, they always carry such subsistence farming with particular variety of crops which are adapted and suitable only for those local conditions. Generally, the farmers who carry out subsistence farming, they always have 2 or more cattle with themselves. That means livestock farming is also there with this particular subsistence farming. Advantage, if you see, of subsistence farming, first is it is cheap and cost effective. Second, non-employment of labor. Here, in spite agricultural activities requires large amount of labor, as agriculture being a labor intensive activity, yet in subsistence farming you don't need labor, because you can use your family only, maybe your wife, your children, those only come in your agricultural field and carry out the agricultural activity. Resources for food supply of the family, helps in putting check on rural urban movement and avoids foreign exchange also, as such whatever produce is there, it is never sold into the market, okay. Also, such whatever produce is there, this could be exchanged in the barter system at the local level, but it is never sold into the market. It could be exchanged through barter system but not sold into the market. Then primitive or simple subsistence. Now we will be looking at the types of subsistence farming. So the first type is primitive or simple subsistence farming, and second is intensive subsistence farming. Now this was the same term which was used in your NABARD grade A phase 1 2023, okay. So a question was asked in intensive subsistence farming, so therefore such terms are very important, and these may also be asked in your AFO exam, okay. Now primitive or simple subsistence farming, what does it mean? It is the oldest form of agriculture and still prevalent in the rural and last mile connected areas. This agriculture is dependent on rainfall and natural fertility of soil, where resources are not added by the farmers. Primitive in the sense they are using old traditional methods, and it is done by self basis. That means they grow foods based for their personal use and only for their family consumption. But some small farmers also can exchange this food according to the barter system. For example, suppose I am doing cultivation of wheat only for my self consumption, but I cannot survive just on wheat, right? Only chapati I will be making from the wheat. How will I survive then? So therefore I saw that there is one more farmer beside me who is my friend only. He is doing vegetable cultivation. So therefore what I can do is that I can exchange vegetable and I can exchange chapatis, my wheat, okay. So we can exchange vegetable and wheat, and in this way I can have vegetable and I can have chapati. So in this way, this is the barter system which is carried in this simple or subsistence farming. Then comes intensive subsistence farming. So intensive subsistence agriculture, farmer cultivates small plot of land using simple tools and more labor. So climate with large number of days with sunshine and fertile soils permits growing of more than one crop annually on same plot. Farmers use their small land holdings to produce enough for their local consumption, while remaining produce is used for exchange against the goods. So as I told you, farmers use their small land holdings, marginal land, to produce enough for their local consumption or maybe for their self consumption, while remaining produce is used for exchanging through barter system for the other goods. It results in much more food being produced per acre compared to other subsistence pattern. So in intensive subsistence farming, here you are not using your overall produce only for your self consumption but also for local consumption. That means locally you can exchange your crop production with the different other people which are residing in your agricultural or maybe in your overall vicinity. Okay, so here you can understand farmers are using small land holdings enough in such a way that you can use overall produce for local consumption also and for yourself also by exchanging with that with other goods. Then prevalent in thickly populated areas in the monsoon regions of South, Southwest and Southeast Asian regions. So if you go to Western Ghats, if you go to Karnataka, Maharashtra, Western Ghats region, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, here you can find such type of intensive subsistence farming. So difference between intensive and simple subsistence could be, in simple subsistence you are using only for self consumption. In intensive subsistence, here farmer is using some inputs like simple tools, more labor, and more importantly whatever the produce is there that can be used for local consumption. I hope you get the idea. Then importance of subsistence farming. So when we talk about subsistence farming, why is it important in context of Indian agriculture? It helps to reduce rural vulnerability. Various rural areas, if you see, whatever agrarian families are there or communities are there, always they have one problem, and that problem could be that they are having less profit in the agricultural activity, okay, or maybe the overall output is very less. But in subsistence farming, as our input cost is very less, therefore our total output what we are creating in this subsistence farming, that has a really good value when you compare it with the inputs, and therefore this is one of the most efficient agricultural practices at an rural scale. Okay, then improvement of rural livelihood, as major of the people here who are involved in various subsistence farming activities, here they can use the crops for self consumption as well as they can use their overall employment as well as manpower also in terms of labor. It decreases the food inflation. How it decreases the food inflation? As the total food grain production doesn't goes to market only, because in subsistence you use it for self consumption, therefore no point of food inflation only. Okay, then comes livestock farming. Now when you are doing agricultural cultivation, if along with the agricultural cultivation you are also doing animal husbandry with you, you are also domesticating the animals with you, such type of agricultural activity which involves domestication of animals, that is called as livestock farming. It is defined as management of breeding and breeding of domestic farm or livestock animals to obtain their meat, eggs, milk, leather, that is overall animal or maybe overall animal husbandry products along with the agricultural cropping, that is called as livestock farming. It is an integral part of crop farming and contributes substantially to household nutritional security, poverty alleviation and increase household income. Okay, so overall if you see, when you do agricultural activity and along with agricultural activity such as subsistence agriculture or general farming, and along with that if you are doing livestock farming also, you could see that overall your whatever output is there or maybe overall profit is there, that always increases. So your household increase always increases. And how much is the increase here? Here if you go through different statistical datas, here you will understand that overall income increases from 3 times to 6 times. 3 to 6 times overall your income increases. 3 to 6 times your income increases when you include your agriculture and your animal husbandry, that is your livestock or your livestock farming. So the returns from the livestock, especially which happens in dairy, mixed farming, in small and medium holdings, are large and highly sustainable. So here you could see from such livestock farming you can get meat, eggs, milk, such production, and from the remaining agricultural activity you can get your crop, grains. Not only this livestock farming increase your household income, so your livestock farming not only increases your household income, but also it is one of the activity which get easily involved with your agricultural farming practices, as both of these activities are sustainable and are connected with each other. We'll discuss it more, but first let us understand the components of livestock farming. So the first component is cattle farming, which includes cattle for your milk, for your draught purpose. Draught is nothing but pull and push activity of your animals, which is used for agricultural processes. For example, plowing, tillage. Okay, if you are using animals for such draught in the sense push and pull activities which you do in agricultural field, so such draught labor is there for agricultural paintings, including tilling, irrigation, carting, okay, or maybe plowing. This particularly could be carried out through cattle, maybe through buffaloes, maybe through cows, maybe through oxen. Okay. Then poultry farming. This is done to elevate home birds for egg manufacturing and hen meat. So meat and eggs, this is why the poultry farming is done. Then is goat rearing. So similarly, after poultry farming, goat rearing is done, in which of course these goat are reared for their meat, for their nitrogen rich excreta, etc. Okay, and their milk also. Okay, because goat milk is having medicinal properties also. Then swine farming, of course, for the production of pork, because pork meat is very, very famous as well as has high economic value. Then comes sheep farming. Sheep farming can be reared as free range where there is no shortage of land under housing inside the shed. So leaving apart why sheep farming is done generally, it is done for meat purposes also, it is done for wool also, and it is again done for milk production also. Okay, so these are the types of your overall or components of your livestock farming. So overall you can pick any one of these components along with your agricultural activity. Now why is it important that livestock farming could be done along with agriculture? First is income of livestock and poultry together. If you see, it contributes almost 10% of your total national income and nearly 50% of agricultural sectoral income. If you look at only livestock and poultry, if you look at these both, they contribute 10% of total national income. Agriculture, how much is it? Total national income? How much is it? Agriculture, tell me in the comment section. We already discussed on it, that's why. What is the total national income contribution of agriculture? So livestock and poultry is giving only 10%. So you tell me how much agriculture gives. 50% in agricultural income. Effective utilization of labor, as agriculture being labor intensive activity, the same labor could be effectively used for the same animal husbandry activities. Then soil fertility. The excreta or maybe the waste products which are from the agriculture as well as from the animal husbandry or livestock rearing could be used to promote and maintain the soil fertility in your field. Okay, for example, cow dung. From cow dung you can prepare an organic manure, and that organic manure you can use it in your field. Okay, then comes effective utilization, that how cow produces 8 tons of farmyard manure per year, and that same manure could be used, okay, in your agricultural field. Similarly, agricultural field can used for production of different crops like berseem, lucerne, which are good fodder crops, and these fodder crops or feeds can be used for making different fodder materials for your animals. The waste material from your animals can be used to make the manures in your field. So therefore tree fodder, burnt grass can be better utilized and converted into edible products like milk, meat, egg, etc. Then effective utilization of agri-industrial byproducts. So agri-industrial byproducts is nothing but whatever byproducts are obtained from your grain processing, for example husks. So whatever shell is there of the grain, that is husk, then oil seed, oil cakes, then pulses processing such as whatever cereal or maybe your pulses or oil seed husk is there, molasses, that can be used in as your byproducts in your both of your agriculture and your livestock activity. Better standard of living, as overall family income would improve because of these two activities coming together. And lastly is interrelationship, as the output or byproducts of agricultural activity can be used for the animal husbandry, and the byproducts and the outputs of animal husbandry can be used for agriculture. These both of these activities are having good synergies or good interrelationships between each other. Then comes nomadic herding. So always remember, apart from doing agricultural activity, there are certain communities which are not based on settlements. Settlement is nothing but where your overall whatever address is there, or maybe where you are residing, your house, or maybe your place where you stay, that is fixed. So in certain communities such place is not fixed, they keep on moving from one place to other. Okay, so this migration of people from one place to other, this migration of people from one region to another to escape the intense climate, this is known as nomadic herding. So nomadic is nothing but nomads are nothing but the people who move, or the people who translocate from one place to other, whose location or whose settlement is not fixed, they move from one place to other. And herding is nothing but along with their movement, they also do the animal husbandry, or they also do the occupation of your different herds of animals. It may be sheep, it may be goat, it may be cattle, it may be poultry, etc. But they move from one place to other. Okay, so they don't have any shelter. Fixed shelter is not there, fixed settlement is not there. Okay, so they move from one place to other. Nomadic herding is a type of primitive subsistence farming where people move from one place to other. Nomads are people who travel from one place to other, as I told, changing more so to wage earning businesses. So what they do is that they keep on moving from one place to other. Earlier in 1980s, 70s, initially the primitive agrarian community was there. At that time these nomads used to move from one place to other because of the harsh climate. Today they move from one place to other not because of harsh climate, but just because of different earning businesses, so that they can change their occupational activities in a way in which they can earn more and more wages by different businesses. So therefore they move from one place to other. The most number of nomadic herdings you could see in arid, semi-arid and Arctic regions. Migratory trend is there of these herders. Okay, so horizontally they can move across a large area. So from one place to other, their movement could be horizontal, as well as their movement can be vertical also. For example, this is a particular horizontal movement from location A to location B. For example, they moved from the Konkan region of Maharashtra to the Malnad region of Karnataka. So this horizontal movement could be called as your what? Your horizontal transhumance or horizontal nomadic herding movement. Okay, vertical movement would be not horizontal but according to the elevation. For example, if a particular person moves from the foot of a hill from point A to the top of the hill, so such vertical movement from higher elevation to lower elevation, from lower elevation to higher elevation, that is called as vertical nomadic herding movement. Okay, this vertical movement is also called as transhumance. So transhumance is nothing but when a particular human or a particular community of humans move from one place to other, either horizontally or either vertically, and they move according to the changes of elevation mostly, but the main purpose is the change in climate. For example, a particular community moving in summers from one place to other, a particular community moving from one place to other in winters. Okay, so this is nothing but your overall nomadic herding. Oftenly it is practiced in very harsh climates like arid, semi-arid and your frosty climates. Okay, they do not support permanent settlements, as I already told you. Okay, such whatever nomadic farmers or herders are there, they rely on their animals for food, clothing, transportation, their trade, etc. Now let us look at some important nomadic tribes in the India. So Bharwad or Ahirs, which are from South Gujarat, one is shepherd community of the hot arid belt of the western India. Now this Ahir community or Bharwad community is again very famous, as they look into conservational practices in that area. Then comes Rabaris, which reside in Gujarat and Rajasthan, again a community which looks after the conservation of your different flora and fauna in this particular Gujarat and Rajasthan area. Bhakrawal community from Pir Panjal and Himalayan mountains, that is Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Gujjar community, of course, Haryana, Delhi, Jammu region, Western UP region, Punjab, etc. etc. Then Changpa, these are from, of course, your Ladakh of your Jammu and Kashmir. Then comes Gaddis, who belong to Dhauladar region or Pir Panjal, again from Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Barokpa, again from your Dhanu valley from Ladakh. Apart from that, there is one more community which is in your peninsular India, that is Dhangars. Dhangar community is also a nomadic herders, which are from your Maharashtra and Karnataka region. So overall, this was all about your nomadic herding practice. Then comes shifting cultivation. Now when shifting cultivation we are talking about, we all know what is shifting cultivation. It is also called as jhum cultivation in India. It is a primitive agricultural practice in which there are two important aspects. First is slash, second is burn. So shifting cultivation is called as slash and burn agricultural practice, which is practiced in West and Central African region, Southeast Asian region and South Central American regions. Shifting cultivation practice is nothing but it involves when you are doing agricultural activity, when you slash, that means you cut whatever the vegetative growth is there on a particular field, you plant your crops, okay. After planting your crops, you cultivate them, you grow them, you harvest them. After harvesting of the crop, you again burn that field. So slash, burn, and then you leave that particular field or that land as barren or as uncultivated land, and you move to a next patch of land, you move to a new field of land. So when you move from such one patch to other patch, from other patch to next patch, this movement of land patches from one to other, where you are slashing and burning your agricultural field, such practice is called as shifting cultivation. Almost 86% of total cultivated area you could see is under shifting cultivation. It is intricately associated with socio-economic, cultural, religious belief of the tribal farming communities in the mountainous area. It is characterized by clearing and slashing of fertile forest areas generally for your agricultural activity. In shifting cultivation, mixed cultivation is done of different food grains, cereals, vegetables, etc. etc. Here you could see after harvesting and burning, the field or whatever your land is there, that is kept barren or uncultivated for 1 or 2 years. So each phase is followed by a fallow phase, where the cultivated area is left fallow or left uncultivated for the period of almost more than 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, so that the land is there or your field is there, that is rejuvenated. Okay, the shifting cultivation always is criticized to be unsustainable activity, which it is only if mainstream agricultural cultivators also follow shifting cultivation. Generally, when tribals do carry shifting cultivation, is their tribal right. Why tribal right? Because in tribes they are not having any tenancy rights. They don't have any land which has been declared on their names. Because in tribal, if you look at the socio-economic aspect of tribes, there the overall land has been owned by the community, not by a single person. So that's why tribal communities always follow shifting farming, which is also known as jhuming cultivation, which happens in Northeast India. Now let us see different names in the world as well as in India. So jhuming, if you see, in Central America and Mexico it is called as milpa, in Venezuela it is called as conuca, in Brazil it is called as roca, masol in Central Africa, ladang in Indonesia, re in Vietnam. In India, if you see, it is called as bewar or dahiya in Madhya Pradesh, podu or penda in Andhra Pradesh, pamadabi and common bringa in Odisha, kumari in Western Ghats, valre valtre in Southeastern Rajasthan, khil in Himalayan belt, kurua in Jharkhand, and jhuming in Northeast Eastern region. Okay, So shifting cultivation, moving from one piece of land or one field to other by slashing it, that is cutting the crops and moving, then cultivating the crops, then burning that field, and then moving and keeping that land barren, and then such moving from one piece of land to other patch to next patch, just keep moving from one patch to other. This is called your shifting cultivation. Now we'll end here and we will start our second chapter tomorrow. So see you next time in the course. Thank you very much. And as I told you, our batches have already started. This is the best way for you to revise all your lectures in depth. This much depth information has been not provided anywhere. This was just the first chapter, and look at it, how much important terms, topics did we cover. So in similar fashion, we are going to cover every inch of syllabus till our AFO examination, mains examination. So I hope this is a really great venture for you guys. You join in and start the preparation as quickly as possible. For you, even if you're looking at a crash course, even you are looking for a complete course, this particular Shakti batch or complete AFO success batch, it is a gateway for your selection. So thank you very much. See you next time.